Hey, there's John from Heroes and Legends, and we have more Hour of Devastation cards to look at today. Over the course of the stream yesterday from GP Las Vegas, they showed a number of cards. Now, most of these are Invocations, but we did see a few more of the actual Hour of Devastation cards as well. So quickly before we get started, if you check out the description below, you'll find a couple ways to help support us, one of which is our Amazon affiliate store. If you make any purchases via the links there, a small percentage will come back to help us out. Also, you'll find our Patreon page down below as well. Now, that that's out of the way, let's get into the cards, and we'll begin with Supreme Will. A blue and 2 instant uncommon. You get to choose one. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 3. Or look at the top 4 cards of your library, put one of them in your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. First off, for limited purposes, I think this is a great card. Happy to run one of these. It's versatile, it does a couple different things for me, and I'm on board. Standard constructed, though, I like the card. I usually love cards that give you options, don't get me wrong. But I feel like there's just better things to do right now when it comes to building control decks than this card. Control's in a great place. I mean, we've seen it in the standard meta. Is it control decks have looked great, and they have a lot of really strong tools. I don't know if this can compete with some of the other spells that are out there for a deck like that. Even though it is an instant, it works great in that archetype, obviously. But I just feel like, if I'm going to run something like this, why don't I just simply run a hard counter for 3? I get what they're trying to do here. Early on, this is a counter spell. Later on, when your opponent outruns the mana, then you can dig for something. It's a cool idea on paper, but I think the cost just doesn't work, because as a 3 in this current environment, it feels too high. As a 2, it would have been too good. It would have been too low. So, like, what do you do with something like this, right? So I don't know if we'll quite get there as far as standard goes, but again, if nothing else, I'd be happy to play one of these in limited. Dream Stealer, a black and 2 human wizard. This one's a rare with menace 1/2. When this deals combat damage to a player, that player discards that many cards, and it has Eternalize for 2 black and 4. I like, again, what this is doing for limited. I'd be happy to pick this up, maybe even a relatively high pick in a draft, perhaps even first pickable. Once we see more of the cards in the set, be easier to determine that. But as far as standard goes, I don't really see this card getting there. Again, I think it gives your opponents too many options. And yeah, there's times where they only have one creature out and they just simply don't have options. But once they get that second creature out, now they can start deciding, do they chump block this? Do they try to get rid of it by blocking it with a few smaller creatures to get to, even if it's a 4/4, the larger cost? It costs 6 to make it come back as the 4/4. Which doesn't feel very economical. And yes, it's great if you can hit with it and make your opponent lose cards, but again, they could also plan for that by hanging on to some extra lands or something. So it's a good card, but again, I don't think it really pushes the envelope into standard at this point. And the last new cards that they showed yesterday were the Deserts, 3 more of them. And we saw 2 prior. We already saw the one that gives us red and the one that gives us green. But yesterday we got the one that gives us black, blue, and white. So this is a complete cycle. I've talked about these before, so I won't go into any detail. But I'm intrigued to see how they play in limited for sure. Alright, let's move on to those Invocations. And you're going to see a trend here. A lot of these cards are not necessarily high value cards if you're just trying to get the regular single version of them. However, in a lot of cases, these are some hard to get foils. So they at the very least defaulted on the fact that, well, if the foil is going to run you $20 to $40, let's go ahead and make it an Invocation. And that's not a bad thing for players that like tracking down foils. So we'll start here with Capsize. Capsize was originally from Tempest, and this card was actually pretty good back in its day, and it still sees extensive pauper play. Now the thing is, if you want to pick one of these up, it's not expensive. You can pick them up for like $1 or $2. They're pretty much everywhere. But if you want that foil version, you're looking at a promo that was made many years ago, and it's going to run you about $25 to $30. Next we have Forbid, and Forbid kind of falls into similar territory. It's a much older card, originally coming out in Exodus, but it's not expensive. If you want to pick it up, it's like $2 to $3. Great in cubes. As a matter of fact, it shows up in a lot of the MTGO cubes. And if you want that foil, again, you're looking at a promo version that's pretty old now, and it'll run you close to $20. Next, we have Avatar of Woe. Now, this one's a little different from the last two. This has been printed many times, and foils have been printed many times. So, unfortunately, value-wise, there isn't a lot of value to be had here. Now, the art is beautiful. I will give it that. And there are folks that do play this card a lot of times in Commander and such. And because of that, I guess it's an alright inclusion, but it doesn't feel like a high-value inclusion. So, I think I would be disappointed to open this if this happened to be, you know, that one invocation that you hit as you open packs. This would be kind of the dud of them all, I think, at least from what we've seen so far. I mean, again, if you want to pick this card up, the original version will only run you $2 or $3 from Prophecy, but it's been reprinted a bunch of times. You can even get foils of this for around $2, like the Greyborn foil. Diabolic Edict. Now, this one's a little bit better. This does see play, as a matter of fact. And Diabolic Edict, originally from Tempest, again, it was a common, so it's not super expensive to pick up the original. You can pick these up for under $1 all day long. But, like I said, it sees pretty extensive play in Legacy, probably most notably in, like, Grixis Delver decks. And also, if you want a foil, your options are very limited. As a matter of fact, they're limited to, again, just a promo version, which will run you about $25. No Mercy. I actually used to play with this card a lot back in the day. I always liked it, and I'm not really sure why, but it is a great Commander card nowadays. And because of that, it has a nice price tag attached to it. Again, this is a card that actually never saw reprint. So there's only one place to go for this, and it's Urza's Legacy. The regular copy does run you about $16, and if you want the foil from there, it's going to run you close to $30, between $25 and $30. And this is the first, I guess, real reprint of the card, so that's great for Commander players that might want to pick it up. Slaughter Pack. Slaughter Pack, now this one probably most players are more familiar with. It's a more recent card. Originally from Future Sight, it did get a reprint in Modern Masters, and it is a card, again, that sees a fair amount of play out there. You'll find this in Modern, sometimes like Ad Nauseam decks and some other places. And again, it's not a cheap card. Even the original Future Sight version will run you $7, $8. If you want to talk about foils, whether you go with the Modern Masters or the Future Sight, they're going to run you between $15 and $25, depending on which version you want. Opposition. One of my favorite cube cards. Like, this is really awesome in a cube. Again, it shows up in a lot of the MTGO cubes. The art's beautiful, even though I have no idea how it's connected to Opposition at all. As a matter of fact, on the stream, if you watched it yesterday, they would show the art first, and they'd say, guess what invocation this is? There was just no way anyone was getting to Opposition. As a matter of fact, I couldn't guess any of them. Some of the art made sense, I guess, once I heard what the card was. But some of it, like this, the only thing I can think of is maybe this is what Bolas does to his opposition. He sends a bunch of locusts to attack them. So I'm stretching it, I guess, but there you go. The card itself from Urza's Destiny, it did get a reprint in 7th edition, but that's it right now. And it's about a $4 card if you want the original. However, those foils are a little spendy. If you go for like the original foil, it'll run close to $40. The 7th edition foil, a little closer to $30. But yeah, another card that has a high-cost foil. Shatterstorm. Shatterstorm's an old one. This card originally came from Antiquities, so you're going back a ways here. If you wanted an original version of the card, it'll run you about $16, but it has been reprinted a number of times, and it has shown up in every place from, like, Revised. It was in 5th edition, 6th edition, and 10th edition. Now, the 10th edition, though, is the only place where you can get the foil, so the foil will run you about $35, $40. So again, the card itself, I could pick up a Revised probably for $1 or less. But again, if I wanted that foil, I'm going to have to pay for it. Choke. Choke was a big sideboard card like a year or two ago for a while, maybe a little longer than a year ago in Modern and Legacy. It still does see play out of sideboards in Modern and Legacy, just maybe not as much as it used to. Like again, sometimes 4-color Loam and Legacy will see this. But it is a card that has limited reprints out there. First off, it was a Tempest card. You can get the original version for maybe $3, $4. It did get a reprint in 8th edition, and 8th edition is the only place you can find it in foil, meaning you're going to be paying about $40 to $50 for that foil. Lord of Extinction. Another good Commander card that has never been reprinted. This one's a lot like No Mercy in that regard. And value-wise, it's very close to No Mercy. This was from Alara Reborn. If you want a single, it'll run you about $16, $17 nowadays. If you want that one foil, probably run you about $20 to $25. So again, interesting reprint for the Commander set as well here. And finally, we get the Scorpion God. This is one of the new cards from Hour of Devastation that was previewed a couple days ago. We talked about it at length in another video, so I won't go into the details here. But here's the Invocation version of it we got to see. So, having said that, those are the cards for today. GP Vegas continues. If you happen to have time to watch it on stream today, this is day 2 of the Modern event. Every other large event is over at this point. I'm sure there's going to be more card reveals over the course of the day, so I will compile them for you and get them out to you once we kind of get everything again, sort of like we did with yesterday's stuff. So until next time, hey, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible by the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.